mainly down to Shook. And let's not forget, Nif was on Thresh for a big period of that.
Even more important than the winning streak, Shook has won 4 out of 5 games when playing Evelynn, and he's got a 5 KDA on that champion, which is great numbers. Knowing that Ryze is banned out, I think Alliance are hoping to get their hands on Renekton. At the pro level play, there's a lot of talk how Ryze is a counter to Renekton and really gets in his face. So by removing that, it's going to allow Alliance to grab that as a first pick if they want it.
Well, Nidalee has been banned out every game so far. That loss of ban does mean it got through. Peke will be playing that one. Well, we'll see whether it is him. I'm expecting it to be. But Jax and Kha'Zix being locked in by Alliance. What are Fnatic going to do to counter this Jax?
So this is a very interesting pickup because it's Alliance that have banned Jax in both of their previous games. I had actually been watching this under the impression that Wicked was either not comfortable or not wanting to play Jax in the top lane. So it's interesting to see him lock in, and that was a very quick lock-in as well. The counter to it, if they're going to put this Lulu top, I think is a pretty smart option. When he jumps in to leap strike you, you can glitter lance him, you can turn him into a munchkin with that Whimsy, and you can get away cleanly. So there are tools in Lulu's kit to deal with the Jax. The real question is, who do they put as a late game champion? Do they want to run another Kayle mid to maybe try and control him in a super late game? Because the longer this game goes, the more likely Jax is to become unstoppable and be this just super immense side split pushing monster.
Well, they're changing at the moment. They had Twitch highlighted for a long period of time, worked very well in the last game for Tamps, despite the fact he was a long way behind in farm, but he may be falling back to a ever-present champion in his pool, which is Caitlyn. It's a champion he played consistently when he was on the Lemon Dogs and has continued to do that on Alliance. It looks like it will get locked in. Once again for Nif, it's going to be Nami.
Yeah, again, surprising. It's one of his lesser played champions. This split, at least, he's been focusing on Lucian, but Lucian has been landing in the hands of Fnatic all 3 games in a row now. The one thing I do like is this is a lot of ranged, long-range spell poke. With Nami, with a bubble, as well as the Pult of a Peacemaker, you can defend under towers. There's also a lot of on-hit damage. If you combine the headshots of Caitlyn plus the Tidecaller's Blessing from Nami, you've got an on-hit slow that allows you to land multiple auto attacks. So Alliance, if they're in a 2v2, they're in a good position already. That's a strong lane. If they want to do lane swaps and they want to tower push and do fast rotations, they also have that option available to them. So a lot of tools that Alliance can play with.
Remember, at the moment, we're just waiting. All the champions getting locked in very quickly. Nocturne getting picked up here by Cyanide. This is a champion he's played so heavily, but barely had a chance to show it. If you look at his solo queue play, he spams this champion non-stop. This is all he plays heavily at the moment. He played at a Katowice, and they had 1 loss on it, and he was so depressed about it when we were talking to him. Morgana also locked in by Yellowstar. That's a champion he's had great success on.
So what I like about the Nocturne lock-in is this is going to be our first real sort of Feral Flare style jungler. So I want to see where the Cyanide is going to pick it up. Part of the reason I do like this lock-in, if you combo the Paranoia with a Wild Growth in a team fight, the backline of Alliance is going to get jumped on. Tabs, even with the protection of a Tidal Wave and playing on Caitlyn, is going to get run down by Nocturne. I want you to cast your mind back a few weeks ago to the Nocturne being played by Meteos. He was able to actually solo. This is a Fizz for Froggen. So, Assassin on Froggen is super exciting because you're going to have Jax, Kha'Zix, and Fizz diving onto Fnatic's backline. One of the best things to deal with a long-range poke composition like a Nidalee and a Lulu who's going to be throwing glitter lances at you is hard engage. So if Fnatic are ever grouped up tightly enough, Alliance are going to jump in, and I'm terrified of this jump-in comp from Alliance. It's somewhat reminiscent of the playstyle Wolves beat them with yesterday. On the same token, if Alliance fall behind, there is so much poke and long-range damage from Fnatic, they can prevent Alliance from ever jumping in because they can just pound them down from early on. So the early stages of this game is going to be so crucial for both teams.
Remember, guys, if you are watching, remember to tweet us who you think will win. Remember to tweet at LLL Esports. That's important. That has to be in there. And then use the hashtag AllWin or hashtag FNCWin. That's what we want to know. Do you think it's going to be Fnatic or do you think it's going to be Alliance? Quite simple. You've put your money in the bag, and what do you think?
You know what? I think the momentum is with Alliance. I think Alliance have got a comp that, if they engage correctly, will shut down everything that Fnatic can do. But the risk is they cannot fall behind early. If Fnatic manage to pick up some early towers and rotate around and make Alliance begin defending. They are relying entirely on Caitlyn to defend a siege. There is no other safe wave clear, really, from the rest of the team. So when you're sitting on the back foot and you've got Dark Bindings and Nidalee Spears and Duskbringers and Glitter Lancers, there is too much to dodge. You will get hit by something and you will give up another tower. So that is the key. The opening 7 to 12 minutes. If Alliance are not super far behind, I think they've got the comp that can win this.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We are getting into the game. It is game 3 of the semi-finals. Fnatic versus Alliance. All square, 1-1. Winner takes all. Moves in towards that championship match. Loser, well, they're in a third, fourth matchup that nobody wants to play in. It is Fnatic as the blue team and Alliance as the red team. And, well, Alliance has started off so well in the opening games. Can they do it again? Because if they fall behind this Pocom, it is danger times for Alliance.
So, game 1, Alliance were the ones that had some form of aggressive invade at level 1. It didn't give them anything because Fnatic stole buffs. Game 2, it was Fnatic that went for a delayed invade, and they were jumping into Alliance's face.
So the votes are in, and you guys are a little bit unsure right now. You had a big vote for Fnatic, but it's only 57% of you thinking Fnatic can take this one. That's a bit of a difference to the 73% of you at the start.
Yeah, the LoL Esports vote has been balanced out at this point in time. And again, if you just look at the way the series has gone, I think that is much more fair. We are in the deciding game, of course, so it is very smart. And I think Alliance will be quite happy to look for this lane swap. It does look like they want their AD carry in the top lane, and it does also look like they're going for a little bit of an invade. So they're replicating what Fnatic did in the previous game.
Yeah, they are delaying on that blue invade. We'll see whether Fnatic do counter this one. They haven't got a ward in the river area, but he won't spot them if they sneak around there. And that is interesting stuff. Yellowstar is up here, though. He's going to maybe use his trinket ward, but that won't be up till 2-minute mark, and Alliance will be in his face. He will see them coming, though. He's in that bush. He should be able to get out safe, unless he gets caught by one of those aqua prisons from Nif, who's winding it up there. The spear instead will catch Shook out.
Yeah, not a lot of damage, but there are 3 members. Even with the Dark Binding, I think this is just running interference. The fact that Alliance has been denied the buff on an invade immediately gives advantage to Fnatic. They've defended the jungle. It's going to allow Cyanide to get into a pretty good position. But oh, that's great.
Oh, very nicely done there. Teleport interrupted. Whimsy being used by Soaz there. He says, see ya, I'm down to the bottom. I'm getting the farm. And he knows he's got himself a clean wave to push against Wicked.
Yes, a very good start to the beginning. Fnatic defend their jungle. They interrupt Wicked's teleport. They're going to deny him experience and a little bit of gold for that first level. That is very important for Lulu, who has some tools to deal with the Jax, but I by no means feel that it's a counter to Jax. So there is always going to be some pressure and some onus on Fnatic to control Wicked, because the moment Wicked does hit that Blade of the Ruined King Trinity Force level of power, I think there's nobody in Fnatic's squad that can deal with him 1v1. And that's going to allow Alliance to do what Fnatic tried to do in the previous game. Put pressure elsewhere on the map, try to get more towers, and try to get more objectives.
Leap Strike being used by Wicked there, but missing that CS. He's still only got 1 to 13 of Soaz. We're also seeing we're not going to have the lane push craziness that we've seen in the last 2 games. The last bunch of games, honestly, in this playoff period, where Fnatic are defending this time in that 2v2 in this top lane.
Yeah, and I think whoever gets the first tower will be able to rotate and get more map control. Fnatic want this sooner than Alliance do. I think the longer this game goes, the more I like the engaged power of the Kha'Zix, Fizz, and Jax, because they will get to somebody. But you can't discount the fact that if Alliance ever engage inappropriately or at the wrong time, the Nocturne plus Lulu combo should be able to zone out and deal with members of Alliance. So we'll need to see who picks the better fights and who executes those fights more effectively.
So at the moment, Cyanide double buffed up, as is Shook. Both coming towards the rates, actually. Shook simply always going to try and come on Peke, unaware of this one, actually very deep in there. Froggen goes in, tries to catch on towards him. The lead comes in. Only Void Spikes didn't manage to get his claws out this time. Couldn't taste the fear.
Flash burned. So this time around, Fnatic, they've got that heal on Peke, so he's got his own built-in heal thanks to playing Nidalee, as well as Summon a Spell. Double exhausts from Reckless and Yellowstar, and I'm just looking down the rest of the list. There's actually an Ignite on the side of Froggen. So Only Ignite that we've got in the game right now. A lot of exhaust on the side of Fnatic. We've seen how effective those exhausts are against Assassins in the previous game. I keep talking about late game because I feel like both of these teams are going to go late. Froggen is just looking for some poke, but until he can 100-0 Peke, Peke's just going to heal himself back up, so it's a bit of a half-hearted attempt.
It burns his mana down and it keeps on towards him. There's the Ignite being used this time around. Look at that. Froggen, Cyanide, forced to come in and counter him. And Peke, he's got next to no mana now. He's going to try and desperately get some of this farm.
Yeah, Peke, no flash. He does still have Summoner Heal available, and he hasn't backed yet. So well played by Froggen. Dealt more damage than even I was anticipating. And Peke just under a little bit of trouble. He can't run the risk of getting 100-0. The moment Fizz is able to do that, he's going to be able to just side push and go to the side lanes and really put a lot of pressure elsewhere on the map.
And, you know, Froggen picking up that Crystalline Flask played it exactly how you should against Nidalee. We've seen it a couple of times where players don't bring that Crystalline Flask against Nidalee. Just going to get poke, especially as a melee champion. Wicked taking some big damage from Soaz there, and he's caught up very well, though, when you consider the advantage that Soaz had in this lane.
Yeah, so about a minute of uncontested farming, maybe a little less than that, but also the fact that he's a melee champion against ranged. Wicked's doing fairly well at CSing under the tower. He's got vision of the Tribush, so even if Cyanide wanted to come in, he would have had some time to think about it. You never really want to tower dive a Jax unless you can instantly blow him up. Because of the Counter-Strike blocking auto attacks and the fact that it will stun you when you're in range, it just makes it so risky to execute that play. I think it was a smart call for Cyanide to back away.
He was spotted out early. Shook was heading down there again, looking to maybe try and pounce onto Peke in that mid lane. He's already forced him to burn that flash.
Chum the Waters is available.
Not hit level 6 yet. So he's going to get Chum the Waters, catch on towards him. Froggen goes in. Shook pounces in there. The tower damage is on Shook, but it's easy blood for Shook there, taking him down. No problem about that.
Very well executed by both Froggen and Shook. They landed everything that they needed to. The moment Froggen hit level 6, he instantly took advantage of it. What's even more impressive is that Shook had roamed around the moment that it happened. That gank had been set up a little bit beforehand. Froggen or Shook would have communicated, talking about the levels, talking about Chum the Waters being available, and they synced that up exquisitely.
It appears to have been going on so long, I'm starting to miss words out here in my pronunciation. Tab's caught out with a very good Dark Binding there. Reckless doesn't manage to try and counter on it. We'll keep that farm going, and this top lane pairing is staying very even. Bottom lane pairing, well, Wicked is backing away. He's going to have to buy here. He's managed to push a wave up, but Soaz is going to keep that advantage in his top lane. He's going to be around about 20 CS ahead of Wicked by the time he's done here.
And he's freezing the lane. At Dark Binding's land, they've caught Tabs.
And called him out. They're going to use the exhaust, but the Aqua Prison turns it back around on towards Reckless. Damage still continuing to come down on Tabs, but he's safe for now.
I was just about to say, oh, now Peck has been jumped on. In that top lane, as long as Tabs and Nif don't get caught by a Dark Binding, I think they outrange both Reckless and Yellowstar, and thanks to the damage amplification that you get from Nami, I think that Tabs has the ability to keep Reckless and Yellowstar poked down. There is a higher burst on Reckless and Yellowstar's side though, so the moment anyone gets caught out, Lucian and Morgana is just going to melt a big chunk of your HP thanks to the burstier damage of Reckless's Lucian.
So at the moment, it's Fnatic who are pushing his top wave in. Mid lane advantage, Froggen, no doubt about that one. Bot lane, well, top lane pairing, whatever you'd like to call them, the two soloers, is very much in favor of Soaz up against Wicked. He's almost 30 CS advantage ahead of him now. Wicked has yet to go back and pick up his main item. He's just hanging on in there right now, having to use that counter-strike, and there's still some serious damage coming out from Soaz.
Every single time we see this lane, you'll see that Soaz is using his full complement of abilities to keep Jax shut down. Because of everything in Lulu's kit, it's a counter to some degree against what Jax wants to be doing. So Soaz has done a great job in not only denying Wicked farm, he's also got this tower incredibly low. So Wicked stuck around for the experience, is even being denied recalling right now. The problem for me though, is I don't know if it's enough. I don't know if they've shut Wicked down enough to really delay the threat that Jax is eventually going to become.
Yellow Star coming around. Shook was the danger in the mid lane. Peke aware of his situation there. With this blue buff, he's going to be a much safer farming. He's already got the chalice on him as well, so that mana is not such a problem now. He can keep himself topped off with that heal, but you can see he's having to take the wraiths away from Cyanide, who himself is like, no, I'm building my Feral Flare. Get off the big one.
Yeah, I want to touch on it. 9 minutes in, he's got his Wriggles Lantern. He's already built up 15 stacks towards that Feral Flare. It does count from the moment you pick up that Hunter's Machete. So Cyanide's on pretty good track. I think the shortest amount of time I've seen for Feral Flare is around 12 minutes, 12 to 14 minutes in that bracket. So for the time being, we do see Cyanide in a pretty good position. I want to know how he itemizes and how he builds. When Meteos gets ahead on Nocturne, he builds full damage. He goes Ghostblade, he goes quite aggressive. And we'll see if it works out. Shook trying to move in lane now to jump on Soaz, but Whimsy's just too powerful and Soaz is a mile and a half away.
He may have to be careful here. If he goes aggressive once again, Wicked will have that leap strike back off cooldown in his second, and Soaz is playing this one very cautiously, realizing that Wicked, he's being aggressive, so he knows, yep, ward goes down, Shook gets spotted.
Yeah, not going to work out. A little too hesitant, but I think Soaz was playing that quite safe. You never really felt like he was about to get jumped on. Was sat deep enough down the lane. With Cyanide sitting out of vision range, the strength of Paranoia will give them some chance to jump in, but I don't know if it's enough damage. I don't know if it's enough. They caught Tabs again.
Dark Binding once again with the exhaust. Nif tries to counter this one. He's going to get caught out, stunned up here. Tabs in all sorts of trouble. Reckless goes on towards him. Tabs will go down. Now can they get on towards Nif? Dark Binding back up off cooldown. Brilliantly done. The Colin just wrecking from Reckless.
A double kill from Reckless and Yellow Star, both times secured thanks to a Dark Binding from Yellow Star, even though Nif landed the Aqua Prison on Reckless at the very first binding. It was not enough time. Reckless flashes in, bursts down Tabs, and just very, very good play. Fnatic now on the invade. We talked about how diving a Jax is risky, but when you've got 3 members and a heal, the risk becomes a lot simpler, and the spear's landed.
When the spear lands, the fear is going to get caught out. Luckily, the minion wave was there for Wicked to leap strike too, though, so gets out free. It's 2-1 currently for Fnatic, but that's the first tower going down, and it's Fnatic to take it.
Now, this is what Fnatic wanted to have in their situation. They've already got some kills in the name. They've generated a 2,000 gold lead, thanks to a great CS advantage for Soaz, and because they've kept Wicked down. Even more importantly, the 2 kills that the team has secured is sitting on their AD carry Reckless. So we've seen how effective he was at kiting and putting the damage out in both of the games this series. If Fnatic can keep snowballing this advantage and getting more objectives like this mid-tower, their poke composition will work very well. Look for a Dark Binding. If it lands, they may even want to go in.
Cyanide getting that Earth thrown out to him. It's not so much an Earth, more of a gigantic shark this time around, because it depends on the champion skin.
It's an Atlantean shark.
Atlantean. This is the one you wanted. You had to fight for this one, buddy.
And lost.
And you lost.
I lost.
You lost for it.
Worst Fizz EU, I'm afraid.
Yeah.
So tower secured for Fnatic in the top lane. Soaz is able to respond and defend the top tower. Alliance, 3,000 gold down. I think you somewhat expect it because of their champs need some time to scale, but they can't afford to fall further behind. Look for a Dark Binding. If it lands, Tabs could die again.
Tabs has already used the 90 caliber net. He's going to have to flash away from this one. The Aqua Prison comes out, but there is the Dark Binding. Wild Growth being used by Soaz. The ultimate from Yellow Star will lock him down and pick up the kill. Tabs goes down again.
Yellow Star fired the Dark Binding a millisecond before the bubble landed. Now Wicked's in trouble. He's going to get dived by 2 members of Fnatic.
He's got nowhere to go on this one. The stun is going to come through. He will manage to stun, has to use a ward, but he's going to get exhausted down. Reckless is looking to pick up his 3rd kill of the game. Where you going to go, Wicked? He's running, he's trying to juke, but Cyanide gets the kill.
And Fnatic just extend this lead further and further. Wicked was trying to get damage on the tower, and because he was overextended, gets run down. Paranoia wasn't even needed in that situation. Nif not landing a bubble this time around, but again, I just want to go back to that initial Dark Binding. Just worked so incredibly well for Yellow Star.
Well, we were unsure how it would work out for Wicked on this Jax. Jax is a very strong champion, and if the game goes longer, then it will become a problem. But from the word go, Soaz has really put the pressure on towards him and kept him guessing, kept him out of the lane phase, and kept him well away from farm. You can see it's a 40 CS difference between Soaz and Wicked right now. And well, we talked about it with this Nidalee. If you start getting the advantage, you can start putting the pressure on the towers. It is a huge, huge difference for Fnatic, and with a, 4,000 gold lead 14 minutes into this game, it is playing very much into their hands.
Yeah, and this is what Fnatic wanted and what they needed, to be frank. Because they can't run the risk of being assassinated, we'll see if Froggen can jump on Reckless. They're going to dive him.
They're going to dive in. The counter-strike comes in. They catch on towards him. So Froggen pounces in there. Wild Growth comes out. Reckless is in trouble. He's going to get dropped down, or is he? He tries to get away from it. He's just going to kite them round. But now Soaz, he can clean up. Wicked taken to nothing. They both pounce towards him. Soaz gets one, gets another.
Ooh.
Oh, Playful Trickster away from the shield. But the spear comes through. Wild Growth comes in. There's the spear from Peke. And it's a 2-for-1 to Fnatic.
2-for-1, and Froggen fired that Chum the Waters a little bit prematurely. There's a Paranoia available from Cyanide, so if he wants to go, he's jumped on Nif.
He's diving on towards that support. He's also into trouble and quickly uses that shield to block away. Aqua Prison comes
Javelin.
down. Nif is going to try and get away. The Javelin comes in once again, and Peke gets himself another.
Now, if Fnatic can keep the pressure on, use the gold and the item advantage that they have accrued for themselves to siege under the towers, Alliance will be forced to engage over and over. Because Alliance do not necessarily have the damage to win an extended teamfight with multiple members. The Wild Growth from Lulu and the Black Shield from Yellowstar are going to be so important at saving a team member and buying them the time they need to kill members of Alliance. So Alliance are looking for engages right now. They're looking for moments to claw back this gold. And if they perform like they did against the Wolves, they overcommitted when they were behind. They picked slightly inferior times to engage, and they can't run that risk now because they're already 6k gold down.
The blue buff was also stolen away by Cyanide there. Froggen not going to be getting that one again. They're starving him of that buff all throughout this series, and so far it has been working wonders for Fnatic. It's now a 5,000 gold advantage with them 5 kills up, 3-0 in turrets. Alliance so far yet to get even close to one of these turrets.
Yeah, haven't touched them at all. There's one buff away from Cyanide completing his Feral Flare. It's not going to be on the blue buff. The next kill, assist, or large camp. Maybe if he goes for the white. Besides, he doesn't want to start stacking yet. He just realized it. Now, when the Feral Flare is upgraded, it will be dealing an additional 100 damage on each auto attack to minions and monsters, and will be healing for 10. And for every large monster you kill or kill or assist you pick up, that will increase. It does deal a third of that damage to champions. The reason I talk about that, if Cyanide continues to stack this up and builds up a whole bunch of additional damage, him and Reckless could put themselves in a situation where they can secure Baron as a 2-man, and the rest of Fnatic with Lulu and Nidalee can be running interference and holding Alliance back thanks to their great long-range poke. The damage from these spears, not the greatest right now, but there's no death cap completed, there's nothing outside of the needlessly large rod, so Peke is still building himself up.
Wicked unable to counter everything Soaz is doing to him right now, and he's on his turret, but Soaz has got the range advantage, just continues to poke on towards him, and you talked about this in Champ Select. Tabs is really the only thing able to try and keep this wave clear away. They have nothing but melee champions, and Fnatic are taking full advantage of this one. They're keeping those spears continuing to flow. Soaz continuing to keep pressure on the turret. They can't do anything about it.
So there is a risk, if Fnatic continue that siege and stay grouped up, that Alliance can jump in on them with the Jax, the Kha'Zix, and the Fizz. One of the added bonuses to having Cyanide playing Nocturne on your team is the moment Alliance do jump in, you throw down Paranoia, you deny their vision. Even if you only reduce a portion of that vision, it gives Fnatic the chance to deal with that all-in, jump at you comp. So I think it's a very smart pickup from Fnatic, from picks and bans. And Fnatic siege their way down, land some spears, they grab their 4th tower of the game uncontested.
Yeah, Soaz teleported down to the bottom, you saw it there. He's going to be clearing that wave out, keeping that tower safe. Dragon, that's going to go across to Fnatic. You talked about it a moment ago, the combo of Cyanide and Reckless. Well, you can see it in action right here. They're taking the Dragon down with it right now, and all of the turrets so far have been safe, but it looks like Alliance are finally moving to pick up their first turret of the game. It's going to be Wicked that will take that down, but they've left themselves completely exposed in the bottom lane.
Yeah, Fnatic should be able to pick this one up very, very quickly. Tabs is alone, and if he sticks around, he's at risk of being dove. So Fnatic grab their 5th tower of the matchup right now. Just continuing to expand their lead. They've got monumental vision from the top half of the map to the bottom. It's just littered with Fnatic wards. And Fnatic are playing this roam, rotate, siege comp well. Somebody's going to die.
Nif or Tabs, both
Dark Binding?
exposed. Dark Binding will be the thing that starts it off here. In fact, no, it could be the Glitter Lance from Soaz. Either way, 4 members of them. They're not sure. They're not sure which way to go. It's going to be a flash. They're going to dive on towards Nif. He goes down. He gets caught out. The Dark Binding was not used. They're going to try and counter this one. Wicked jumps in, pounces on towards Reckless, but they just simply don't have the damage anymore.
Froggen is going to look to assassinate somebody. He's coming in from the side. This is going to be 4 and 4 as Peck is not there.
Shook pounces in, avoids that Dark Binding and gets caught with the Glitter Lance, and Froggen counters this one. Peke giving the call, back away from it. Dodges out of it though, the spear does not land. Froggen yet to throw the ultimate out because the rest of Fnatic are closing the gap.
Yeah, so Froggen doesn't feel that he can instantly blow Peke out. They tried to make something happen. That was actually a super aggressive play from Fnatic. The flash Soul Shackles from Yellowstar Morgana was the safest of engages because it's guaranteed to land. He put himself in range, he chased down, he was able to put the Black Shield on himself, which meant no CC, nothing could interrupt him staying in range of Nif. They get the kill, but I think luckily for Alliance, maybe intelligently, they had repositioned quickly enough to defend the inhibitor turret from being sieged. So at the end of the day, giving up only 1 kill but holding on to their towers, crucially important for Alliance right now.
It is a big advantage for Fnatic though. There are 7,000 gold in the lead. Soaz in this top lane has been wrecking Wicked, but now he has to be a little bit more careful. Shook is just off at the side. Reckless is going to face check straight in towards there, uses the ping ward wisely to make sure Shook is away, and Shook does not fancy that. This combo is deadly. There's a lot of damage from Fnatic, and with this big advantage in gold, it gives them a big item advantage as well. You can see Reckless at the moment, a clear Phantom Dancer ahead of Tabs.
Yeah, that is really, really big lead. And when you see the rest of Fnatic grouping up in this inner turret, they are just going to keep playing the seed game. Shook cannot afford eating those javelins. He's poked down and poked out. And Fnatic, they secure another tower. This was the pitfall of Alliance's comp. If they fell behind, it was always going to be next to impossible to defend. And their only safe wave clear is in the hands of Tabs. He was pushing the bottom tower, so he's not even here to respond. Wicked is just going to eat himself spears after spear and Fnatic. If they stick around for another wave or two, they can probably get this inhibitor turret.
Yeah, they just shredded over half the hit points off that turret. Wicked so close to catching a full binding there. Alliance are ready to try and go for this one. Froggen laying in wait, has the ultimate and ignite. Oh, but Wicked takes that spear. He's going to have to back to the fountain.
Yeah, Fnatic, they've just played this comp so well. From the moment they grabbed the first couple of kills, they've focused the towers, they've not waited. That's the most important thing. This is what Wolves didn't do yesterday. Alliance have started a fight.
They're going for it. Cyanide's going to be the focus target, but that Dark Shield comes straight out. They're going to be Wicked jumps in, counter-strikes all 4 members, but he is just left alone, and Fnatic turn straight on him. Froggen has to get out of there. His Tabs gets catches a spear. That's going to be an inhibitor going down inside 22 minutes.
There is not enough damage on multiple members of Alliance to deal with super minions this early in the game. It's going to take such a long investment of time that Fnatic are going to be able to siege up the rest of the map, get more objectives like dragons, reds, blues. Tabs, if you look at itemization, he's a Phantom Dancer down, the makings of a Last Whisper, and he's opted to go for another BF Sword. And I think it's because of wave clear. I think he's gone for the BF Sword because he needs to melt these minions as quickly as he can, because he is the anti-siege champion. And the moment he takes any poke at all from Fnatic, that's it. The defense is off, and Alliance either need to all in or back away.
They're trying to delay it as long as they can. Tabs desperately pushing out that entire mid wave. He knows he's safe for now. Alliance moving around. Is this going to be a Desperation Baron?
It is a Desperation Baron if they're going to stop. The reason it's so risky is Peke can solo defend this. If he lands 2 spears on a champion, they're going to die.
They've tried to set up a cheeky comp in the back there. Oh, but they're all getting caught out here. They're going to try and turn. They're going to rush on towards Peke. They jump in there. Wicked does manage to land the stun. Yellowstar gets dropped straight away. Peke's going to be the next focus target. He's going to ace in the hole. It's going to land on him. And now they're in a 4v5 situation, but Fnatic, they're turning and running to the base.
Yeah, there are super minions pushing towards that top lane, so Fnatic can keep Alliance in place long enough. They can let the super minions do the rest of the damage. What I liked about Alliance is they were playing the bait game. They actually never intended to go for Baron. They just wanted to jump on whoever came to defend. Ooh, so close. But Froggen and Nifl back away, and I think now Tabs is in trouble.
Tabs is dead. I don't think he's going to get out of this one. Wims is available. The speed already been used. Wild Growth does not land. The rest of the team try and counter in towards it. Tabs just about surviving by the support of the rest of his team. But it is going to be the middle inhibitor turret going down. Spears continuing to fly. Froggen having to play for Trickster away. And it's another inhib down for Fnatic.
Incredible play from Fnatic. They deal with the Baron bait. Even though they lose Yellow Star in the engage, they're able to rotate to the mid lane, grab themselves another inhibitor, and now thanks to super minions in the top and the middle lane, they now have free reign on this Baron. And if Alliance wants to get anywhere near it, they have to get through that onslaught of long-range skill shots. They're not even going to be here quickly enough, I don't think. Maybe Shook just as it's going down, but if he eats a spear or a binding, that's it, he's finished.
Yellow Star ready and waiting to fire the binding, and he lands with the spear and the culling. Shook in trouble. The heal from Nif just enough. He's going to try and pounce in, but he gets caught by the spear, and now the paranoia comes out. Wicked going to get jumped on the fear. Will send him away from the Fnatic team. Aqua Prison just enough to keep him at bay. Wicked going to get caught out with a slow. Fnatic closing him down. Leap strikes to Froggen. He's trying to run away from this one. There's the ultimate coming out from Froggen. Wicked goes down. Fnatic are just rushing through in the Alliance base.
That was such smart play. The shield landing onto Cyanide allowed the Glitterlance to slow Wicked down, and thanks to the extended chase, Fnatic are on the Nexus toast. They've caught Tabs. This is them going to the finals.
Tabs dropped down. Fnatic looking strong in game 3, and honestly did not look like they were ever going to lose this game. The moment Alliance fell behind at the start, Fnatic have looked incredible. And they really know how to take advantage of a situation like that. Fnatic are in the final. Who will they face? That's the question. SK Gaming or Rocket, they will be playing next.
Such a difficult position for Alliance. They lost a ban. If you look at the series, Nidalee was a red side ban. Game 1 was a red side ban game 2. Nidalee was not banned in game 3. First picked by Peke, and he landed all of those spears perfectly. I think that was very, very good play from the side of Fnatic. They used their siege comp well, and they never gave Alliance a chance to engage it.
Well, I have to say, so far, every higher seed has won their match. Gambit, they went out to Rocket, who were placed 4th. Fnatic have just beaten Alliance, who were placed 3rd, who themselves beat 6th place. Is that an omen? Will it be SK in the final against Fnatic? It's going to be a big match regardless, but Fnatic have shown 3 separate tactics in this best of 3 already. They have so many different tactic styles in their bag. We didn't even see them using the run and ganks tactic.
No, they didn't need to. You know, I think when you look at Fnatic's playstyle over this series, they demonstrated an ability to rotate very well. Even in the game they lost to Alliance in game 2, it was actually about Fnatic. They had the first few towers very early on, and then Alliance built themselves back up. Then Alliance were able to control and maintain Fnatic in their control. Game 1 and game 3, it was all about Fnatic. They got a lead, they never let it go, and that was great. 25 minutes to get the Nexus down. There was no hesitation. They had the Siege champions, and they sieged.
You're not seeing things there, by the way. That was Aranea. He's kind of become the manager, boot boy, team comp guy for Fnatic.
Cheerleader.
He's always been with Fnatic. He's always been the Fnatic cheerleader. He's big buddies with Peke, but I actually saw him backstage when the tactic talks were going on, and he was giving input.
I think why not? If you have friends and allies who can talk to you in a semi-final, when you're qualifying for another final, 3 finals out of 3 in the European LCS, and Fnatic is represented. They won spring last year. They won summer last year. They're looking to do it again. And I know they surprised me this series. I did not expect that level of play from them, considering what we'd seen week 11 of the LCS, considering what we've seen building up to the end of the LCS. I did not anticipate that, and it was very, very well played.
And I want to highlight the fact that if Fnatic were to get that to All-Stars, we would have all 3 world champions at All-Stars. We would have Fnatic, if they win, of course. It's a big if. Tomorrow, they were the Season 1 World Champions. The Taipei Assassins are already there. They were the Season 2 World Champions. And SK Telecom T1K are there. They were the Season 3 World Champions. It could be an epic All-Stars if they make it. It's going to be an epic nevertheless, but to have all 3 World Champions would be fantastic.
That is another whole very poetic storyline when you look at the grand scheme of things, the All-Star Invitational, all of the regions having their teams working towards it. We'll know who Europe's representative is tomorrow, and we'll know who North America's representative is on the weekend.
We got a lot of games to go before we get there, though, ladies and gentlemen. So, Alliance are going to go through to the third, fourth place match, but they did look good.
They looked better.
Yes.
That's what I'm going to say. I would say I was left wanting yesterday when they played against the Wolves. Wolves in game 1 looked phenomenal. But then Wolves mid to late game decision making. Wolves were unable to just turn it on and win the game like Fnatic did in this third game. When Fnatic got a lead, they just snowballed it and grabbed so much more. Fnatic really, really impressed me this series. They came out, they had new champion picks, they had a newfound rotation and objective play. And they deserve to be in the final because they did outplay Alliance.
Well, it was a fantastic matchup, ladies and gentlemen. There's still 2 best-of-3s to go, so there's a lot of League of Legends action to continue. But for now, let's check in with Fnatic, Soaz, and Peke, who are standing by.